Hi everyone, Ekon here from the Foundation server. I'm calling this one the STFC Playbook Series Part 1. I'm going to be taking you something that's pretty much applicable to all ranges of levels and everyone, and I'm going to be taking you through some hints and tips, namely ship XP, bulk chests, research speed, attack vectors, and rep credits. So I'll explain that in more details as we go. I'm mainly making this because there's a lot of levels and a lot of questions, a lot of people asking so many different things about the game mechanics and what are the basics, and it's riddled through all these other videos. No one's really put it down to exactly how to do it all, and just kind of have it in one neat consolidated one space there that we can kind of tackle and kind of explain, especially as newcomers and new people start the game, or others are approaching, level 20 or 25. You kind of want somewhere you can go, not just keep watching hundreds of hours of videos to get all these hints and tips. So you can see there I've sent this ship into an exclamation mark, a planet I did set course. That means there was an event there, or there can be, and I basically parked my ass there because, well, I basically want to build up some ship XP. That's the best way to do it. If you're in enemy territory of any of the factions, ships will come after you, so you do have to be at least level 22 for that to happen. Otherwise, you'd have to go out there and hit a lot of ships, basically just grind it out to improve the ship XP of whichever ship you want. Now that does improve its hull, shields, everything, basically all the stats of your ship. So it's a great way to do that, but you also accrue all these bulk chests. So, you basically just keep getting these PvE chests when you hit hostiles, and you get PvP chests if you hit players. Now, those have, all the resources you need in terms of ship parts, interceptor, explorer, whatever it might be. I'm just kind of getting this guy because someone's, was aiming for him, and I want the bounty hunters because I get 3 points instead of 1 for an event I'm doing. But basically, it's the same thing. I'm going to hit set course. That hides my ship. No one can hit me once I'm on there. They can hit you if they kind of focused you before you went there, but once you're on that planet, no one can actually hit you there, so you're safe, except from the actual enemies that are there. Now that does cost tritanium, but you know what, that repair cost is nothing compared to what you get in terms of the ship XP, strengthening yourself, your all your ships, and a lot more than that. So it's quite beneficial, and everyone does it. So you do have to find a place that's suitable for you. Once you do start to get into Federation, Romulan, or Klingon, you really do have to make a call on whether you want to hide in a level 23, 25, 28, depending on what you are. You usually want it to be much weaker than you, though. You don't want to get that ship dead in like 2 hits. You want it to last about 50, really, at least. So that takes me to the next thing, which is basically just tip number 2, and that is focused around what to do and how to open the bulk chests, or all the PvE chests that I was talking about that you get from these ships or from hitting players or hostiles. Now, you really, really want to open these in bulk, and there's a lot of theories as to that. You can see I've got 94 there. I've parked that overnight in Kitamir, level 23 system. You don't want to open these one by one as you get them. Here you can see a recruit token, you can see survey parts, grade 2 and 3, you can see envoy blueprints, which are actually really easy to get if you do this, if you follow this method, and you basically just want to open them in bulk. And a lot of people kind of speculate as to whether that's a developer thing. They're trying to get variation so you don't get the same drop. The 5 recruit tokens there, you'll get relocation tokens as well. You get everything in this way. In this example, I got relocation token, and sometimes I'll get 3. So really, it's a great way to build up all those blueprints and everything you need from the officer XP, which you pretty much get every time. Ultimately, this kind of method, I believe, the developers must have at some stage decided that they want variation in their and what you open. Like sometimes if I open one by one, I'll get 3-minute repair speed up, and then I open another and I can do that 10 times and I'll get the exact same thing, which is incredibly frustrating. So they must have something in place to avoid you getting the same thing if you opened 50 chests. It used to be 100 on pre-beta days and 500 sometimes, and it would crash your app, but now they've restricted it to 50, probably for that reason. So this brings me to tip number 3, research and build speed boosts. This is a must do. I don't believe it's a bug. I think Scopely know about it. I'd love for them to weigh in. if you leave your alliance and get someone beforehand, arrange for someone to invite you back in, you can keep asking for help on the same things that you're building. You can see I started at 15, but 15 days, I mean, for operations upgrade and for, my battleship research stuff was at 4 days, and I can't remember what that was, 23 hours or something. So you can see that each time I leave and I come back, and this is within the span of maybe half an hour, you get the speed ups are just, it's tremendous. Like, they've actually removed that, see where it says they're 4 out of 16. They've removed that visual kind of cue, but ultimately you're still getting the reduction in speed. I mean, it's a must do. You have to do this, unless I learn that it's a bug or something, in which case that would be an exploit, but I don't believe it is. So tip number 4, attack vectors. What do I mean by that? You should never ever attack anyone right out of your base. I've seen people do that. I've heard of people, or I've been seeing a lot of the general Discord chat about that. You really want to go right up to an enemy when you're in 5 seconds or less, so they can't get away. If they're online and they see that you're attacking, they're just going to warp back or recall or move away or get a stronger ship to come hit you. I mean, it's just it's pretty basic 101. It's not rocket science here. You just don't want to alert them that you're hitting. So I might just speed this up a little bit just so we can see what I'm doing again. So I'm going to bring in this ship to hit. What you want to do is, as soon as it enters the system, you want to move it in the general direction, or rather, you really want to go in a straight line towards that ship or right past it. You can see he's kind of parked it there. This guy from Rogue Osshok, he's kind of parked it there so he can accumulate some event points and probably ship an officer XP as well. Because I forgot to mention before, you do get improvement on your officers. So see how I click past it, I hit go. When it was in under 5 seconds, I'd attack the ship. This is the best and only way to really do it. If you don't do this, I mean, basically you risk getting your ship out there and wasting all that time, and for what, really? If they fly away, I don't know. So definitely advise it. I believe everyone does that. If not, then it's just so easy to predict what's going to happen next if someone tries to attack you and avoid it. So tip number 5. Here we go. So we all know Federation rep and credits are really important. Sorry, I say Federation, I'm Federation, but faction levels rather. So, you start from tolerated and neighbor and friendly, and each time you improve, you get more and more in terms of what you can open up in the faction shop. So if I'm personally Federation, I've gone Federation, which is just a bad idea because it was just so common. But ultimately what you want to do is accumulate these points. Now you can see if you go to any space for any faction, you'll see a lot of these guys flying around, and you see these little icons here, not normally there with other ships. This means that you'll get 5 Romulan, 3 Klingon, and negative to one of the faction, positive to another 2. This is pretty great. So I'm Federation. I don't want to go and look at Federation. I'll look at an enemy so I can boost another 2. So it is possible to boost 2 factions and accumulate points to boost 2 factions. Now, missions and whatnot will deduct from one and accumulate and, speed up another. But ultimately, you want to do, you can park here. I will get 14 points every hit, negative obviously to the Klingons because I'm hitting Klingons, and positive to Romulans. So I will improve 2 others, and ultimately this will just keep unlocking more and more sections from your faction store. At first it'll have these, I can't remember exactly where it's the kind of limited, and then later on you'll get friendly and other status you associate, and you'll get the 12,000 ore and whatnot. You'll get the Saladin class and Interceptor points and Intrepid. You can open those. You'll need the commendation ranks for missions, so you do need those. Ultimately, all of it leading up to the Enterprise class blueprint, which you can buy one for 1,200, which luckily I actually have. I've actually accumulated these already, and I'm ready to build. If only I was level 34, that would really, really help. So let's just have a look here. So scrolling. I'm sure it's going to be 100 million tritanium to upgrade the first one, but anyway. So that wasn't the only way to accumulate these credits. You can get them from missions and sometimes from events as well. So there are events that come on. There's one on right now where you spend resources and you get them. Or Federation, I say Federation again, but faction missions will increase and decrease different levels. I have found that the more credits you get from a mission, the more it actually ends up the more difficult it ends up being. And some of them don't have these, so just make sure that if you're chasing rep and credits, that you're actually going for these. So something like this one with 333, which is more than the usual 1 or 2 or 300, if you look at what you need to get it done, it's going to be, there it is, a 1.3 million ship. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to making the next one.